Hello, grade 5. Today we're gonna start a new lesson. This is chapter 9, lesson 2. The name of our lesson today, Constitutional Convention. Okay? Constitutional here, guys, come from the word constitution, means the laws. And convention means a change. Okay? So our lesson means that the delegates or the representatives of the Congress, they are gonna make a change in the constitution. Okay? So what the meaning of that? It means that you remember in lesson 1, chapter 9, lesson 1, we ended our lesson that the Articles of Confederation, this is the new law that they put, the Articles of Confederation failed because of many reasons. Okay, I told you these reasons before because the states doesn't work or didn't work together. The money value it's not equal in all the states. Also, the Congress has a weak power, and you remember the last reason was the Shias rebellion. When this rebellion happened and showed how the Articles of Confederation is very weak, that's why all the delegates of the Congress, they gathered again, okay, to change Articles of Confederation, okay? That's why our lesson today is called Constitutional Convention because they are gonna change the Articles of Confederation, okay? Here is in the first paragraph, leaders of convention. Here is this paragraph. It speaks about that the delegates of all states gathered, except Rhode Island, okay, except the delegate of Rhode Island state, okay. Why did they meet or they gathered? They meet or they gathered to discuss the Articles of Confederation and how they change the Article of Confederation. That's why this meeting, okay, was known as Constitutional Convention. Okay, so this meeting was known as the Constitutional Convention. Most of the delegates in this meeting, grade 5, were landowners, were business people, were lawyers. Okay, so most of them were, or all of them, generally all of them were wealthy and well educated. Okay, so only the white men here is, guys, it speaks about this paragraph, it speaks about what the first paragraph, it speaks about that only the white men were included in the convention. So it means that there were no women, no African Americans, the Black Americans, no. The African Americans, no. No American Indians, okay? Even the men who were not landowners didn't be included in the meeting, okay? So the meeting have only landowners, businessmen, lawyers, wealthy people, well-educated people, but for women, no women, no American Indians, no African Americans, even the Americans or the white Americans who are poor, okay, also they didn't include it in the meeting. Okay. They here, guys, they write for you many names, but I don't get much interest in the names. I need the conclusion of the paragraph. The conclusion of the paragraph that those delegates, okay, whatever their names, James Madison, for example, George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, they were the leaders of the convention, okay? But now all of those leaders discussed America will be a federal system or will be a republic system. What the difference between both? You know that in the federal system, guys, the states share the power with a central government, okay? And the central government has more power than the states. If you remember in the Articles of Confederation, there were the Congress power and the states power, but the states power were more powerful than the Congress. Okay, so they didn't need that. They need a federal system. In the federal system, there was a government, central government, okay, and a state, the states also, the states governors, okay, but the central government power is more than the state's power. Okay, what about the republic? In the republic, guys, it's a government in which the citizen elected their leaders to represent them, exactly like Egypt here, okay? And who elected the leader? The citizen. So the power comes from the citizen. So America will be a federal or will be a republic, okay? Will be which one? Let's see now. In that time, George Washington was the leader of the convention, okay? So the leader of those people was George Washington, okay? And in the convention, they suggested, most of them suggested that America will be a federal system, okay? In this federal system, there was a law called the Virginia Plan. There was a law called the Virginia Plan. What was Virginia Plan? Remember that law very well, okay? So the first point in the convention is Virginia Plan. In Virginia Plan, the delegates declared that America is a federal system, okay? In this federal system, there was a national government, okay? This national government has three branches. What are these three branches? The Congress, the President, the Court. The Congress, the President, the Court, okay? So number one, I'm gonna write for you here, okay? In the convention, I'm sorry. In the convention, the delegates represented Virginia Plan. What was Virginia Plan? Virginia Plan said that America is a federal system, okay? It means that there was two powers, the power of the national government and the power of the states, okay? But the national government is more powerful than the state, okay? So in the federal system, what happens? Huh? America is a federal system. In the federal system, there was a national government, okay? I'm sorry, government. In the national government, there was three branches. So there was a national government which which was divided into three branches. What are these branches, حبايبي? The branches is the Congress, the President, and the Court. Okay? Here is the Congress is called the legislative branch. This branch of the Congress is called legislative branch. And the Congress is responsible for making laws. Who make the laws and who write the laws? The Congress. Okay? That's the first one. The second branch is the president, and this branch is called the executive branch. And here is the president is responsible for carrying out laws. What the meaning of carrying out laws? It means put laws into action. The third branch is called the judicial branch, and the court is responsible for this branch. And here is the court job is to check that these laws that the Congress did is or that the laws are fair or not fair. Okay? Okay. Here is appeared the first problem after they invented Virginia Plan and declared that America is a federal system. What the first problem they faced? They spoke about the number of the representative in the Congress. Okay? Now the Congress have representative, Okay. How we elected the Congress how we elect, I'm sorry, the representative for the Congress. Some delegates said that according to the population, okay? So, for example, the big state, okay? The big state here, I mean the state that has more population, okay? So, the big state will has more delegates in the Congress than the small states because the small states, its population is small, okay? So, they suggest that the big states, okay, like for example New Jersey, New York, these are big states with big number of population, so they will have more delegates in the Congress than the small states. For example, Wisconsin is a small state, okay, so this small states will have less representative in the Congress. In that point, okay, many delegates argue or get in conflict. No, 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 no. We must have equal number of delegates in the Congress. That's why the delegates suggested يعني another law. This law is called New Jersey Plan. New Jersey Plan. Okay? In the New Jersey Plan, they reached to a solution to this problem. In the New Jersey Plan, حبايبي, they divided the Congress into two parts or into two houses. They divide the the Congress into two parts or into two houses. Into two parts or into two houses. What are these houses? What are these houses? The House of Senate and the House of Representatives. Okay, these two houses are House of Senate and the second is House of Representatives. Okay. In the first house, the House of Senate, each state will elect two senates for the House of Senate. Okay, so the House of Senate will include two senates from each state. Okay, and the jobs or the responsibilities of the Senate, they are more powerful than the normal representatives in the second part, which was called the House of Representatives. In this House of Representatives, no, they will elect their representatives according to the population. According to what? The population. So if the state, for example, is a big state with a big population, so it will have more representatives in the House than the smaller states with a small population. Okay? So now the second law was called the New Jersey Plan. In the New Jersey Plan, they divide the Congress into two parts or into two houses. House of Senate and House of Representatives. In the House of Senate, each state, so they are equal, each state will elect two senates. But in the House of Representatives, each state will elect representatives according to the population. If the state is big, so it will elect more representatives than the small states. Okay? This solution, guys, were called the Great Compromise. This solution in the New Jersey Plan was called what? Was called the Great, was called what? Was called the Great Compromise. What the meaning of Great Compromise? Compromise, guys, means that both sides, okay, which they had the conflict, both sides give up something to settle a disagreement. أهو both sides give up something to settle this agreement. For example, I have a conflict. Now you elect one, or you elect two, you elect more representatives, or you elect less representatives. So they need to compromise. It means that they need a solution in the middle, okay? A solution in between. Not this side who need more delegates one, and not this side who need equal delegates one. No, they reach it to a solution which is in between. This is the meaning of compromise, okay? So they had the same number of senates, but they have different number of representatives according to the population, okay? So this is solution, okay? The New Jersey Plan was called the Great Compromise. Was called what? The Great Compromise. Okay. After that, guys, they had another problem. After the first problem, which related to the number of representatives and senates in the Congress, they had another problem. What this problem? This problem related to slavery. You know that the southern states, okay, have more slaves than the northern states, okay? Because the southern states have more farms, so they were bringing more slaves to the states to work as farmers. So in South America, okay, there were more slaves than North America. Okay, so what the problem, Mrs. Mayada? The problem is that those slaves will be counted as American citizens or not. Because if they were counted as American citizens, it means that the southern states will have more population than the northern states. And as a result, they will have more representatives in the Congress than the northern states. Okay, I told you here that in the House of the Representatives, the number of representatives will be according to the population. So the states which have more population will get more representatives in the Congress than the small states. Okay, so when they got more representatives in the Congress, it means that they will have more power in the Congress. So again, returning back to the issue of slavery, the southern states have more slaves. Okay, so if those slaves will be counted as American citizens, so the population of the southern states will be more than the population of the northern states. So some delegates, no, they refused. How those slaves will be counted as American citizens? These slaves are something like property. Okay, we couldn't count them as American citizens. So they solved this problem by another compromise. Okay, by another compromise. This compromise said that we will count each five slaves as three American citizens. Okay, so they solved this problem. Okay, the problem of slavery, that they will count, that they will what count each five slaves as three American citizens. Okay, in this another compromise were called what? The three-fifth rule. It was called the three-fifth rule. In the three-fifth rule, they count each five slaves, okay, as three American citizens. Okay, so this is the second compromise. It counted each five slaves as three free people. Okay, and the slaves trade continued for a while, and then it was ended forever. Okay, so now the Constitution was done. They wrote Virginia Plan, that America is a federal system, has three branches of government. They wrote New Jersey Plan, okay? And here is the Congress was divided into two houses, House of Senates and House of Representatives. And they made the three-fifth rule, okay? Which said that each five slaves will be counted as three free people, okay? Here is we come to the point of ratifying the Constitution. What the meaning of ratifying the Constitution? Ratifying the Constitution, ratify means accept. You know that to make the Constitution work or used, okay, 9 states must ratify or accept. Ratify means what? Accept the Constitution, okay? So the Federalists, there were a group of people who accept the Constitution. They were called the Federalists. They were called what? The Federalists. The Federalists are a group of people, okay, who accepted the Constitution and agreed about the Constitution. And those people were writing essays in the newspaper to teach people what is the new Constitution and what is the rules, or what were the laws of the new Constitution. Okay, they were convincing people with the new Constitution. Another group of people were called anti-federalists. Anti-federalists. Those people refused the constitution. Why, Mrs. Mayada, they refused the constitution? Because the constitution in that time they thought it's against, or what it was against liberty. Why it was against liberty? Because it didn't include Bill of Rights. Bill of Rights are four rights for the people. You remember we took them in grade 4. Right of speech, that people could express their opinion freely. Right of assembly, that people could gather to express their opinion freely or made any rebellion freely. Right of religion, that people could be in any religion, Muslim, Jewish, Christian, up to you. There will not be obliged religion. Also freedom or right of press. It means that you could write in the newspaper any essay, or you could make a movie, you could make episodes about anything. Press means the television, the radio, the newspaper, the essays, all of these issues. You can write or make a movie about any issue, up to you, okay? There not will be specific rules about these aspects, okay? So the anti-federalists said that the new constitution didn't include Bill of Rights. It means that it didn't include this four freedom, okay? Freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom of religion, and freedom of press. That's why they didn't accept the constitution. But finally, okay, they ended this conflict between the federalists who accepted the constitution and the anti-federalists who were against the constitution by accepting or by ratifying the constitution. All the 13 states in that time, they accepted the, or they ratified the constitution. Okay, so finally, the Constitution, the Virginia Plan, the New Jersey Plan, the Great Compromise, the Three-Fifth Rule, all the Constitution aspects were accepted, and it was granted in general, okay? And all the states ratified or accepted the constitution. And later on in the next lesson, you're gonna see how Bill of Rights were added later to the constitution. They made the modification, okay, or some changes in the constitution later on, okay. So this is the constitution of the America, okay. This is when they wrote the first copy of the constitution, okay. This is our lesson today, guys. Please read the lesson again, because this lesson is very important, okay? And you have to study this lesson very well, because the later or the next lessons, okay, depend on this lesson. So this lesson is very, very, very important. Please study this lesson very well. And if you need any question about any part, contact me anytime. Thank you, grade 5, and goodbye.